Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Face It with Dr. G. I'm Dr. G, and I have the pleasure of having my dear friend and colleague in Dallas, Texas, here with us today, Cary Deuber. We are so excited to have her. We're going to dive into all things aesthetics, beauty, but also the reality TV part of her life and learn a little bit more about that side of things, how she got into aesthetics, and more. So, welcome. So happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. I miss you so much. So it's great to see your face.
I know I miss you too. So tell everyone who you are and kind of where you came
Okay.
from.
I am Cary Deuber, and I'm a nurse injector in Dallas, Texas, and I have Lemon Avenue Plastic Surgery and Laser Center with my husband, Dr. Mark Deuber, and I have been doing, oh gosh, I've been in surgery and all of that for 20 plus years. I won't age myself too much. As a CRNFA, which is first assist, and I've been injecting for about 22 or something years, 23. I don't even know. I quit counting. Um, yeah, my husband is a board certified plastic surgeon, and we work together at Lemon Avenue in Dallas, Texas.
So awesome.
Yeah,
So,
it's awesome.
were you always interested in aesthetics or how did you get into the field?
It's interesting. I have a surgical background. I started in did a surgery rotation at Big Baylor, downtown Dallas, and after nursing school, and I was like, I really love surgery. I stayed in it. I did vascular and trauma surgery for at the initial part of my career, and then I switched over to plastics. I worked for another plastic surgeon for about 10 years, and I loved first assisting. Like I love operating. I love that environment, and I loved aesthetics. And literally, the plastic surgeon I was working for at the time, he like handed me a bottle of Botox when it came out. He's like, "Figure this out." I'm like, "Okay, I will. That sounds great, great." And I just kind of started, when there was really not a lot on the market. It was very, very interesting, mostly surgery based at first, and now aesthetics, obviously, as you know, has just changed into this, huge monster, and I love what I do. I love the art of it. I love the science of it, and I think that it was just I kind of fell into it.
Yeah. Would you say your practice is heavy on the, because you do the surgical, your husband's a surgeon, so you
I
obviously do the surgical side of it.
He does the
How
surgical
do you,
side.
yeah. How do you balance that with your patients? When, do you feel like is the time to get surgery? How do you balance the injectables and the surgery?
For me, I always develop like a 5-year plan with my patients, and we have a very honest conversation when they first come in, and obviously, assessment is so important. And so I sit down and I have a conversation with them. I'm like, okay, so you're 50 years old. Let's look at all the things that could be right for you, and let's develop a plan that's going to be best for you. And are you open to surgical options? Is it something you've ever considered? And then that helps me, and I think that's why I love us having this practice together, is just being able to do the right thing for the patient, right? If they need surgery, I can recommend that if it's when it's time. And so it's so great because I have that flexibility.
Yeah,
And
I
we have,
totally agree.
we have 6 injectors here and 2 laser technicians, and Dr. Duber. So it's amazing to be able to treat all the things and provide comprehensive care for patients versus them having to go through and like cherry pick from, they go to one med spa, they go to another, then they go to a derm, then they go here, then they go there. And then I'm like sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, like what all of you had done? Like, I don't even know. Like, do you know? No, you don't know, because it's like all over the place. So I love being able to provide that. It's really
Yeah,
important to
that's
me.
awesome. That's so amazing. So, you
Yeah.
know, this is a conversation that many people have had, but you get to see it firsthand probably every single day. What is your take,
Mhm.
and what do you actually see in the operating room with biostimulators and then having surgery? And do you have a recommended time of, no injectables or collagen stimulators before surgery?
I think I personally don't operate a whole lot anymore. Like Mark operates every, majority of the day. And we've had this conversation about biostimulators and is it a problem? Look, if you're a good surgeon, if there's an issue with the tissue plane, you go around it, or you make it work. I think that, he does a deep plane facelift. And so he's in that deeper plane. In general, biostimulators don't bother him. He has seen them now, though, from maybe a practice that, not from me, and maybe they were in like a deep plane, and that's annoying. So I think if you're in the correct surgical plane and you're injecting it properly, you're going to be okay with your biostimulators. And, I think that it just needs to be done the right way.
Yeah, I would agree. Is there a
You know,
patient that he wouldn't operate on? Let's say they're 30 and they're like, I don't want any injectables. I just want a facelift. Is that something that he would do or that you would
I
recommend?
mean, in general, we don't live in LA, so we don't get a whole lot of that.
Well, Dallas is
I
Dallas.
think, yeah, but if there's somebody who comes in who's 30 and they have like a genetic, predisposition to having a lower brow position or lower eyelids, and it's affecting them, then that would be something that would, potentially be something he would do. But he's not doing, deep plane facelifts in general on 30-year-old girls, like, or
Yeah,
people.
because
I
I think
think
these
that,
people are getting them done earlier and earlier. So I was just curious.
yeah, but I think those people who are doing that they're probably, the patients are probably going to people who are doing just like, skin pinch stuff and like weird, just fringe. I don't know. For me, I just think that's kind of fringe plastic surgery where people are just kind of going and just doing like a little skin pinch, and it's not going to serve them well later.
Yeah, I would agree. So how do you balance your days? Are you injecting, because you're speaking and traveling now, I feel like more and more on stage, and how do you manage, your in-office time and then speaking? What do you accept? What do you not accept?
To be honest, I really don't do a whole lot of speaking. I probably do maybe two a year or three. Like I limit that just because I also have a personal life. I have a 12-year-old. I have a huge, aesthetic practice. So I try to only inject like 3 to 4 days a week, and then have a day for admin. And I kind of cut the meeting stuff. Like I just accept kind of the ones that work and that I enjoy doing. Like I love educating other providers. So I think it is important, and it's important as a provider to be going, to meetings and understanding like the new things on the market, because there's like one every 5 minutes. So, you know, but I'm not one of those people who's going to like every meeting every week. That's not for me. I have to work, like, and I love my practice and my patients, and I just really can't, be away that much. I mean,
Yeah,
do you feel
I
that
agree.
way?
And
It's tough, right?
yeah, it's tough. And I think that aesthetics becomes people's lives. And so that conference
Yeah.
kind of track, it becomes your life. But then you realize, no, I actually have a life outside of this. And I have
Yeah.
friends outside of
Yeah.
this that I want to hang out with and
I
have
think
family
it's
and
it's
everything.
great for me to like dip in and out, and like I enjoy it. But I just have a really big practice, so I like to be here for my patients.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your, what do you dislike most about the aesthetic industry? Coming off the heels of a huge
That
conference.
it's a hot
What
mess.
gives you anxiety? What?
Every product. When I walk in my product room, I'm like, okay. I started with like three things, 25 years ago, and now there's like 70, and you're just sitting there like, okay, is this the next best thing, or is this good for my patients, or is it not? Like all the new things in the market. I think it can be very just overstimulating for a provider and for a patient, because you need to make sure that you're obviously, as a provider, delivering the right medication, because these are medicines and medications to your patients. And so I think that there's too many people who have wanted to get into aesthetics because it's super cool, and it was a big financial cash flow thing that people were like, oh yeah, definitely want to make a lot of money. And then, now it's just flooded. The industry is flooded.
Yeah. And I always say I'm not the first to adopt new treatments. And perfect
Yeah.
example, PDRN, PDGF, all this nonsense. I mean, I want to see the data, I want to see the science, and I want to see clinical research or studies that aren't sponsored by the company, right? I want no bias. So
100%.
show me the data. And
100%.
let's,
And
yeah,
have a conversation. Like we use PDRN topically, like mesoneedling. I do not use PDGF. I am just not there yet with that.
yeah,
So
I would agree. And it's
I'm,
sometimes it's hard because you do go to these conferences and there's all these new things and get the team gets so excited. They're just like, we need to bring this
yes,
and we need to bring this in. It's like, okay, present to me why you think this is,
yes,
why we need it. Because you end up, like you said, being overwhelmed by the number of treatment options, the number of products, which one is profitable, which one you're actually losing money on. And then at the end of the day, your consults have to be 2 hours because there's so much to talk about. So
yeah.
you're
I
like,
mean, it is. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and set you up for this, that, and the other, and like it just gets overwhelming for the provider and the patient. And I think it's too. I think it's too much, and it's just gonna get worse.
I agree. And it's you stay with the tried and true, if microneedling, RF
Yeah,
microneedling, laser, injectables, the things that work, and
right.
then little tiny tweaks. Do you have functional medicine in your practice or no?
We do not. I just felt like, my husband, again, he's a board certified plastic surgeon. He's very much the type of surgeon who's like, stay in your lane.
Hmm.
That's just how both of us feel. I want to provide the best care to my patients, and I can't do that. I don't know enough about functional medicine, and neither does he. Like,
Yeah.
end of story. Like, I do have like one PA who will do like minimally occasional, like some GLP-1s and like a little bit of hormone stuff for her key patients, and she follows them. I just think that stuff really, they're handing it out like candy, and it's not candy, it's medication. And it just
Yeah.
worries me. And I just feel like I can't keep track of that well enough, and neither can he, to provide what a patient really needs.
Yeah, I agree. And it does take time and research and studying. You need to know what you're doing. And I feel the same
You
about
do.
ultrasound. Don't just buy an ultrasound and have it sit there and try to use it for a complication and have no idea what you're looking at. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
ridiculous. So
correct.
I agree. And when you spread yourself too thin, and you also have to love it. So at the beginning, I was like, I don't really know.
Yes.
I don't know enough about it. I don't love it enough, whatever. But we've
No,
slowly
yeah, it's
integrated
not
it.
even that. It's like my brain is so full with all of the aesthetics. Like I want to focus on my tried and true and what I love. That's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what you should do.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pivot because I want to hear the
Okay.
story.
Okay.
I mean, I know some of it. Okay, tell me how this whole Housewives of Dallas even like came to fruition.
Oh my gosh, somebody just gave my name, very random, and I showed up for like interviews, like, on had a couple of Zoom interviews, then they like showed up in Dallas and shot stuff. I was like, whatever. I mean, literally the first when I actually was got cast for the show, I was like, okay, I guess this is happening. I didn't really think anything of it. I mean, I was operating a lot at the time. I remember I showed up for the first like cast shoot in scrubs. Like, I'm talking the scrubs that you get out of the vending machine at Baylor. Scrubs, okay? Like, not cute scrubs, like the
The tight
bare basic.
drawstring, like 10 sizes too
Oh,
big.
yeah, girl.
Women.
I mean, the extra small that's just falling off of me. And I thought it was like Dallas Morning News. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this will be like an interview. And then they had pictures. Everybody was there in glam. And I was like, oops. I was like, I have to go do a bilateral latissimus flap. So, and, the patient on the table, general surgery, is still working, but I need to be there in, probably 30 minutes. So I scheduled this. I didn't realize. So that's kind of the world I came from and jumped into it. I don't think I realized what I was getting into. Um, I did enjoy a lot of pieces of it, and then a lot of pieces were really hard. Just like anything in life, right? Anything worth doing is difficult, and it was tough.
Yeah.
And it
Did
just
you
kind
know
of was
anybody
it.
about it before
Um,
you even?
Season one, I knew. one girl, but bare, like a little bit. I knew one of the castmates, but the other, like everybody came on. There were two and two, and then me in the middle. So I didn't have a friend. Yeah, it was like, here you go, enjoy. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So that was tough.
They knew you could handle it. They're like, this lady can
Yeah,
handle it. She showed up in her
yeah.
sweats. She's good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, literally, it takes a lot of constitution and just being like, you know what, it has got helped me get to a place where I don't care what other people think of me. You know, I just am myself and unapologetic, and I think that that's very freeing. So I am like I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so would that be the biggest thing you learned about yourself? And I guess what
Oh
were the
yeah, I
hardest
mean, I
parts?
learned. It is such an introspective journey being on a reality TV show. I think it is just like you have to watch yourself on TV, and you're like, wow, you know, I really learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about my personality. I think that it helped me as a provider. I think it helped me also as someone who runs a business, and being able to be like have honest conversations with people, and as you do as a business owner, and being able to manage people. I think that you sit down and you have honest conversations, and it taught me how to do that. And it also, Bravo's an amazing platform. I mean, it was really just was great for us and our business and brand.
Yeah, of course. Was it
Yeah.
scripted at all, or was it totally
No.
off the cuff?
No, I mean it's nothing is scripted. So, I mean you'll sit and interview, when you sit in the interview chair and you see people like interviewing, that is like you're literally there like 12 hours doing that.
Wow.
Or 8, I guess. So, eventually you get tired and you like what direction like that you're going, and like the scenes you shot. So that's a little bit like, okay, just say what you need to say. But no, it's not scripted. You need to come up. That's the whole thing. Like that's even the more beauty of it. You got to come up with what you're going to say and how you're going to handle a situation. So you got to be
And they
quick on
give
your
you the
feet.
situation, or you just create the situations?
I mean, they just put you in a room. Go. I mean, there's
Seriously?
producers. Yeah, there's producers that, I'm sure they storyboard that stuff. So, they know where they probably want to guide it, but they can't control what cast members are going to say.
Wow.
So,
Do you still
yeah.
keep in touch with some of your
Yeah. Yeah.
old? Yeah.
Yeah. Leanne and Cameron and I are working on kind of like a little, kind of show thing. And, we still, I, I'm friendly with most of them. So, not all of
That's
them, but
good.
most of them. I mean,
Yeah.
I
It
don't.
doesn't
I
have to
think
be.
it's yeah. You never want to burn bridges in life, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was an
Um,
interesting experience. I'm glad I did it
yeah. I mean, it totally shaped who you are today. And like you said, you become
completely.
unapologetic and you are direct and you're like, this is who I am, take it or leave it. And I think that's really hard for a lot of people to get there.
Yeah. Oh, really hard. I mean, life is not easy, right? And stuff like that that can teach you those lessons, I think, are invaluable,
Yeah.
especially in
What would you say other
aesthetics.
than that show? What would you say is, well, yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh my gosh. I mean, could go on and on.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the hardest thing that you've had to, do or get through to get to where you are? Because you're obviously so successful. You're incredible in so many ways. Have a beautiful family. What was the hardest thing?
Hardest thing in life. Um,
Yeah,
Jeez.
what's the hardest
That's a deep, tough question. I think I don't know. I mean, raising kids is pretty hard. Um, trying to do the right thing. And I think, I'm lucky in that I have a really good moral compass, and so does my husband. And so, like, as far as practicing that has helped, but I think just running a business is really the hardest thing. I mean, I can inject all day long. I love it. I'm amazing at it. I think I'm blessed with a talent, and I've really put in the work to grow that. But I think running a business and it's tough. That's probably the hardest
It's
thing.
it's really hard.
Run
Has
people.
anybody that works with you now, have any of them had their own companies or businesses and then closed it and came to work for you because they didn't want that responsibility anymore?
No, most of my providers have been here a pretty long time, like years. So
Mhm.
none of them have, a couple have come from different practices, but not their own practice. Now, people have
Mhm.
left and gone and started their practice. And I think that happened a lot. Obviously, as you know, probably, 2020, I think the numbers looked really great. um and they were like not really, they were kind of false numbers, and I think a lot of people based decisions on that, and now I would assume are probably regretting it because it's
Yeah.
not, margins are shrinking, right?
Yes. And it's all, if you don't know how to run a business and you're like, oh, I'm making all this money and you're doing all this deferred payments and then it all comes out at once. I mean, you learn it
Right.
the hard way if you really do. But what I find is we just had a woman join who had her own practice in California, and she was just like, I just really have no interest. It's so hard. It's
Hmm.
lonely, by the way. And so I'm
Very.
seeing this shift of people, less people actually being interested in starting their own companies. It is really daunting. And I ask myself, would I do it now? Would I do it over again? And of course, I'm sure I would, but
You
it's
would.
totally different. It's
I know.
I would.
You would and I would, but yes, I think
Yeah.
now it's a different deal. I mean, and it's just I think it's gonna keep getting harder. I think that I'm blessed that
Yeah.
I have, my husband who, he was actually on Wall Street. He was an investment banker before he went to medical school. So if I hadn't, so he does all the CFO, that makes a huge difference. And
Hmm.
both of us understand how to run a business, but the numbers are a big deal, and it's a
Yeah,
lot,
they are. And it's a lot. And the bigger you get, the more complex it is and the more support you need and all of
right?
that. But I just find people are looking for a community now because it is so overwhelming. They don't want to be on an island by themselves. They want to learn from each other and
No,
have a team atmosphere. And so I just find
exactly.
it, yeah.
Which I love that. Like, I have there's six of us, I think, injectors. And I mean, it's so great. Like if somebody needs something, or like you have a question, or, it's so amazing to have a network. I would not want to be alone on an island.
No.
I just think it's, and having a plastic surgeon, and like, it's just like also safety in numbers.
Hmm.
And with
Yeah.
everything that
That's
just
right.
the world is, it's like there's so many different things that we were talking about. I mean, you've got to have people to run that by.
Hmm. Yeah. So are you guys thinking of expanding to multi-location, or are you staying in one location, and why, one way or the
We
other?
have we have two locations. So we have Dallas,
We
and
have
then we
two.
have
Okay.
Frisco. Yeah. Frisco is, more of a
Okay.
satellite office, but one of our PAs, she's there pretty much full time. She'll come to Dallas occasionally. And then some of our providers from Dallas go to Frisco, like switch back and forth. So I think the two are great. I do not, I have no interest in having more locations at this point without having support. Mark and I
Mhm.
own our own business. We're not, private equity owned, and, we're doing it ourselves. It is total mom and pop. So for us to do it well, I just think that's where we need to be right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I
It's,
think two is amazing,
yeah,
but
it's
it's
too
a lot.
much.
And
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
And
and
it's
I'm,
stressful.
interestingly just opened the third. And it's
Okay.
like, how long can I do this on my own? Um,
Right. And I think
but I
that's what
want 20 locations. I'm completely.
a lot of providers are running into that, right? Because you can't be there, and
Hmm.
then your team needs you, and it's tough. It's tough. We
Yeah.
had a location out of state, and it just didn't pan out. It's too much.
Yeah. Yeah. So the out of state one, was that because you were trying to run it yourself or you couldn't find the team there to do it, or what were the
No, we
reasons?
had a team, but it fell apart. Just like, they wanted to go off and do their own thing. I'm like, go, good. And actually
Yeah.
it worked out because that space, like someone great is in it now. And so everything worked out for the better. And our team here is super solid. And I love who I work with every day, which that's huge.
Yeah.
Um, but I just
Yeah.
think, I don't know. I think it's going to change. I think a lot of people are going to realize how tough it is, and it's and I think it's gonna, like you said, people are going to start being like, hey, can I come and you take care of all the headache?
Mhm.
And then people like us who are
Yeah.
taking care of the headache are going to be like, okay, my headache is getting bigger. So now what do I do?
Yeah.
What about
Now
my
what do I
head?
do? I don't know. Yeah, it's like,
Yep.
I don't know. So what would be some advice that you have? We have a couple more minutes. Some advice
Yeah.
for someone that's starting out. Would it be just to DM you on Instagram, like, how can I get in? Can I work for free? What would you do if you were
Well,
starting?
I mean, for example, one of my injectors, Peyton, she was my assistant for several years, and I taught her everything, and has now had 4 years of experience and is an injector now. So I feel like, but that's hard to find. It's hard to find someone like us that will take that on and train that, and trust and all the things, because then, sometimes, for me it worked out, and love that I have that. For a new injector, I would try and find someone, yeah, that you can be your mentor and can teach you
Hmm.
everything, because there's a lot to learn, a lot to
Yeah,
learn.
there's a lot.
and,
And
and
I
it's
do, I
tough.
have to say, I do think the conferences are getting better. Some of them are just, if you can get through the weeds of the circus activity, then you can get some good knowledge. But I do think they're getting better. And people can
Mhm.
go to a conference and walk away with solid information, but very overwhelmed. And um, just to have a mentor, like you said, that you can bounce things off of, that you can really trust, that you're like, okay, whatever they say, I'm going to absorb to get me on my feet. But it takes sacrifice, right? I tell people you can't do this part time. You have to jump in
No,
full
that's the
time,
thing.
head first.
People,
Yeah.
yeah, people are always like, oh, well, maybe I could do this part time and then keep my hospital job or whatever. No, this is a commitment. And if you're going to do it, you have to all in do it, because you
Hmm.
cannot part time a career. And this is a career, and it's a big one. And
It,
so you got
it's a
to
big
jump
one.
in full time.
Yeah. And you're dealing with patients that pay out of pocket, they're paying cash, they
Right.
expect results, and you're dealing with the emotional and psychological aspect of it too. So it's a lot, but it's very
It's a lot.
rewarding.
It's very rewarding. It is doing psych and and procedures and running a business and keeping your own self together. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Somehow.
yeah, I love what I do, and I wouldn't change it for the world, but I just, people need to know what they're getting into, and know that it's not just, all the pretty
All
things.
glam. Yeah, I
Hmm.
agree. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you for
It's
having me. We'll have to do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again and we'll have a little bit more time and we can dive a little bit deeper. This was so awesome, and I cannot believe I didn't see you when I was in Dallas. I was like in and out,
I
but
know, I know.
we'll have to
I was
plan
too.
something for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
All
so let
right.
everybody tell everybody how they can get in touch with you. What's your
Yeah.
Instagram?
So Cary Deuber, so it's CaryDeuber. So at Cary Deuber, and then also at Lemon Avenue, and then at Dr. Mark Deuber, MarkDeuber. You can find us on the gram, girl. You know,
So good, and your Duber
and
table
Lemon
and all of your
Avenue.
cooking extravaganza
Deuber
is so
Table, Lemon
good.
Avenue. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get a hold of us. You can't
Yeah.
get rid of me.
Yeah, there you go. You got her and you're not getting rid of
Just
her. Well, thank
find
you
the
so much.
Dubers.
And I will
Thank you.
talk to you soon. For all
Thank
of you
you.
watching
Yeah.
and listening, please like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, girl.